Hey everyone, I'm your host Saeed with Messy Growth. So today we're talking with Patricia Serafin-Wynne, someone who's actually done the hard work of scaling operations, not just talking about it. Patricia spent 4+ years at NetGuru managing all their crypto and FinTech projects during one of the wildest periods in tech. She scaled teams from 5 to 200 people, drove hundreds of millions of zloty in revenue growth, and achieved an NPS of 70+. I want to dig in deeper into that, which is absurdly high for B2B services. Before that, though, she built operational hubs, implemented AI systems that cut costs around 70%, and she's co-founded Shift and Pause. Her colleague, Sylvia, I actually spoke to on this podcast, which was a pretty cool conversation. And one of the cool things about Shift and Pause is that they're helping other operators, such as moi, figure out what's next in their careers. This conversation is about, the unglamorous reality of building op systems, managing through chaos, and figuring out what actually works when you're scaling fast. So let's get right into it. Thank you so much for sitting down with me, Patricia.
No problem. It's a pleasure. Sylvia has said lots of nice things about you. Yeah, I've seen your career kind of progression over the years. So I'm really happy that that you invited me. I'm happy to join your current endeavor. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. So last we spoke on our pre-interview, you were in Dubai, out of all places. Is that as exotic as they say it is?
Plus, I don't know what your definition of exotic is.
Palm trees.
No palm trees. I haven't noticed one non-artificial plant anywhere near. There's lots of sand, and artificial is the word I would use for that place. It is magnificent. It is one of a kind, but definitely artificial. It's not my vibe, but definitely something one should see and experience. And great for business. I mean, they're so optimized for business. So when you're looking for optimization, this is the place to go. Everything is set up to run a business efficiently, from tax structure to actual, kind of support, the network, the places that you can run your business in, et cetera, 24/7. Dubai has it all. So great stuff. Yeah. But, I miss the fresh air, -5 once, a bit of snow, a bit of sleet, no sunshine at all. That is kind of the vibe.
I don't know if we're going to get snow this in December or towards Christmas, but I'm like, my kids are craving for it. It's a nightmare because the weather is just fluctuating so badly. And I remember when I came over to Poland, it was 13 years ago or something, we used to have a ton of snow in winter, and now it's just kind of like it's a dread. So I don't know. I'd take sun over snow or grayish weather any day of the week.
I'm with you. And, I can just summarize it with one sentence. Global changes to the climate, what? Where is the white Christmas? Guys, we're hoping for a miracle. My kids too.
Yeah.
I'm joining you in this particular desire.
Well, let's hope Santa brings some of that snow with him.
Yeah. We're on the path to success, if that's what we're counting on.
I want to dig into your more career aspect of things. I was reading through your profile. Sylvia spoke highly about you as well. I was like, I got to talk to Patricia about this. And you've scaled teams from, like I said in my intro, 5 people to 200+ people, 3 separate times. I am curious to hear what's the most messiest moment in that journey that nobody talks about, or people tend to not talk about it.
You know what? There are huge differences in scaling up teams and building teams. So just let's start here, because I think this is very important to kind of differentiate between the two of them. And I've done both, and I can see big differences between the two. So you have big organizations with full kind of support structure that exists. Okay, so that was Publicis for me, for example, my recent journey. You've got your HR built out, optimized for a variety of things. You've got your IT support. You've got all of the back office structures ready to take on certain amount of people. And I'm not saying it's perfect, and I'm not saying it's frictionless, but it's there. The foundation is there. And then, for example, my Boomerang, we're going back decades, say, this is the company that I have built the team from ground up. So the company wasn't there. I was the fourth team member. We managed to secure the VC funding, and then within 12 months, we had 120 people on our books, and that number was just kept growing. Completely different challenges, because with building the company ground up, there is an additional element of building organizational culture. Because no matter how you're going to look at it, if you started with 4 people, you're starting as mates, you're starting as friends, there is trust there between you. There is the common understanding of the goal. So only you add 100 people on top of that, you don't have an organizational culture. You don't have a knowledge. You don't even know that you need an organizational culture. What is it? And like, how do you define it? There are multiple books that will tell you, well, this is the way we do things. It's something to do with HR. How do you describe it? Like, I've read multiple books, and up until today, I don't have a definition that I agree with wholeheartedly. Sometimes people say it's something that you feel. Great, fantastic, very fucking helpful. Where do I go from here? So different challenges here, apart from all this friction that you have by bringing obscene amount of people through the HR onboarding, structuring, et cetera, you also have this organizational culture to build. So it's slightly different. But the messiest part for me in both is loss of trust. Okay. So at some stage, this kind of informal trust stops working, and you have to build a process, and you have to build a structure, and people feel betrayed. Hold on a minute, we're like a team of like really cool mates, and suddenly you're putting processes on top of that, and how am I to deal with it? I thought you trusted me, and now I have to fill the Jira ticket to do anything, but it's not scalable. All this black conversation, that's not scalable. So this is where the trust stops, process starts, and people very often, they're not prepared for this shift, because it doesn't, like any other change, if it doesn't benefit you, it's not welcome. Yeah. So to me, that's the messiest part, the stop of the trust, and building up the processes that you need in order for organization to grow. Which is where it's really harsh, and this is the moment that some people say goodbye. This is not for me. And it's fine. You have to take it. Don't try to stop people. This is not the vibe for them. And on top of that, you've also got the moment that the company's ambition or the team's ambition might outgrow your personal and professional capabilities. And the toughie, because you might have been with the structure from the start. It was very dynamic, but your skills only go as far. And this is where the restructuring happens, and will need to be pushed into different departments, into different roles.
Yeah. I think you've hit the nail on the head in a lot of ways. Like culture, I've seen Simon Sinek talk about culture. I've seen the same YouTube videos of people trying to build culture. And ironically, if you look at Glassdoor, I don't know if it's the right indicator, but it's an indicator of what the culture might look like from a particular company. And if you look at most of the corporations, or as teams grow, especially companies that grow really fast, the rocket ships, so to speak, their ratings are in the crapper. And I'm assuming it's a lot to do with the fact that because they're growing fast, they need processes. They don't have the right time to vet people, because like you said, you got to grow the teams, and you just don't have the luxury to bring in people that would fit in the mold of how you operate, your modus operandi, so to speak. It's just not going to be there. You are going to break things, and you're not going to be able to have the same company as you did with 20 people, with 500 people. It requires a completely different ballgame set of processes.
It really does. And it requires a different mindset of people that are running it. And this, I feel that I have observed it on multiple occasions, and I was the root of the problems on multiple occasions, when I thought I'm perfectly skilled for the job. Frankly, the job outgrew me. The task might have been too much for my, at that time, current professional experience. But
Exactly.
you need a certain level of humility to acknowledge that you might be the dummy in the room.
Yeah.
And no fairness, a 27 egocentric me definitely didn't have that level of humility. It came much later, it came later. But it came, like to say, no, I knew nothing.
Sooner rather than later. I think it's good to have in those moments in your life some sort of apparatus of people that would say, hey, Patricia, Saeed, this is not good what you're doing. I mean, you have outgrown your welcome, so to speak, at this company. And I admire people who can work for the same company for 12 years, 10 years. You can do that. I just think that it is an astronomical challenge to be able to grow if your company is growing, to be able to give what the company needs, because it's just a stepping stone. And the fact that some people can just make that home, I mean, that's fantastic. It's a mystery that I have yet to solve because I don't think I'm capable of that.
I'm with you on this one. But if I take 3 steps back, the people that are normally within those companies are people which are in well-established corporate organizations.
Fair enough.
And they work completely differently, and governmental bodies. I've noticed that once you kind of go into kind of government side of things, and it could be some, a local government, a council type of office that they're very popular in the UK. We also have them in Poland. Any structure like that, you seem to it's like a black hole. Once you go in, you out of there, I people 20, 30 years later. So that's that. And any army, police, that sort of a structure, more of a calling as well, I've noticed. But people that work within private business, limited companies, they hardly ever stay on for longer than 3 to 5 years. The movement is much, the turnover is much higher. Those
a lot higher.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I want to dig something into with you. I wasn't able to talk about this with Sylvia, but I want to talk about shift and pause for a minute.
Okay.
There's a quote that I see quite often on Reddit, and it's quite often sporadically spread out on LinkedIn as well, that people leave managers, not jobs. Is that true?
Yes.
Can you double click on that?
Absolutely yes. But no. It's bad enough. But no. The truth is, we are hardly ever. Maybe no. I'll pause here and shift. No, that was cliche. But let's pause here for a second. I'll take a step back. When you think about a company that you liked working for or collaborate with, what comes to mind? Because every time I dig deep, I'm thinking, oh, NetGuru was great. Oh, Boomerang was great because I've worked with Michael, because I worked with Craig, because I worked with Helene. I worked with people. They've created the company. They gave me the inspiration. They also pissed me off. Some people challenged me. There was a feedback. Some people I loathed. I remember those. But I've learned a lot from people, not organization. The organization was run by people. And as long as I could align myself with their vision, as long as I felt inspired by what they were saying, that long I was convinced that this is a company for me. The moment that I left it, I kind of lost the footing, and was the moment that I stopped being inspired. And that was a signal for me. That is not bringing value into me, and I'm not bringing any more value here because I'm not feeling inspired. So yeah, absolutely yes. We leave people, not jobs.
Fair enough. I want to talk about your career. So NetGuru's beginnings are from Poznan. Interestingly enough, I used to live in Poznan, and I know NetGuru pretty well. I mean, in the sense that they were a pretty big thing in Poznan, in a small circle of tech / whatever you might want to call it in Poznan. It was a pretty big deal. You managed the crypto FinTech projects during 2019, 2023. Probably the wildest period in crypto history. Yeah, well, it was the rise and fall, so to speak.
Well, I don't agree with fall. Sorry for it.
Really, a lot of crypto you don't think a lot of crypto blew up? I mean, of course, they are the OGs, so to speak, that are left standing. You're talking Bitcoin, uh, Ethereum. I don't know how you pronounce that.
Solana, yeah, we've
Yeah.
further down. Where's the question?
Question was there a project that completely blew up while you were managing all of the fintech projects? And was there something you learned or a lesson that you took away with you from that wreckage, so to speak?
Well, I love the fact that you assume that there was a wreckage. Maybe we're successful.
There is wreckage.
It wasn't.
If you listen to CoffeeZilla, he will tell you that.
It was a wreckage. Now, let's start with the fact that during NetGuru times, the whole crypto bull market, we knew nothing, absolutely nothing about cryptocurrencies. And this is where I want to kind of stop. Crypto is not just cryptocurrencies, but that's how we looked at it.
Right.
And when you think about people, when you shout crypto and I shout back green Lamborghini, which I don't have, by the way, and it's regret of mine. Yeah. Could have, should have, would have. I have not, but life is filled with regret. The thing is, we looked at it through the prism, very naive lens of cryptocurrencies.
Yes.
We looked at it, oh, it's the alternative to stable coins. Oh, it's going to challenge this centralized financial system.
Yeah.
We didn't know first thing about crypto world. We like the Web3 escaped us, smart contract escaped us, everything escaped us, but we thought, okay, there was a hype, we're going in. So essentially, every single project was difficult. It was complex. We realized we knew nothing about the legislation. We never asked ethical questions, and everything kind of blew up in our face. It was like, shit, should we be doing this? Are we helping these young guys? Because we see that what they're trying to create is perhaps, pump and dump situation environment in which they, if anybody knows anything about this, I don't have to explain. It's like, are we going to participate in some scheme? So there was lots of projections of various projects, and there was obscene amount of very young entrepreneurs. I'm saying entrepreneur, I'm saying it with a pinch of salt. Entrepreneur is the person that comes with the innovative idea. There was nothing innovative about creating another Ponzi scheme. Okay. So it was very hard to fish out something of value, a project of value, especially with the very limited knowledge that we had. We realized, probably too late, that we need somebody more qualified, and getting tutorials on Udemy wasn't the right way, for our developers. And for me, the lesson was get somebody from outside. That was it. Get somebody from outside who has got the passion, but who has also got the knowledge for the topic. And another lesson, which was a very harsh lesson and utterly unexpected, was how resistant developers are to new knowledge. Because I thought I had this assumption in my head that if you are in tech and you're a developer, surely if there is something new on the market, you'll be just there,
You just jump on it.
So in general, like you're gonna go for it. Nothing like that.
Why do you think that is?
But there are people, I kept forgetting, they're normal people, just like you and me. Because I think I looked at it through the prism of girl with a dragon tattoo persona. I was like a hacker that knows everything. No, it's a dude that can code in Python. That's it. He's got, he specializes in that. He doesn't have to, or she doesn't have to know anything more and have very wide kind of level of interest into anything that's new to the market. They're just people. And it was a hard realization because I held them in the highest regard. I thought developers are like God. I'll throw something and they'll build me this product. It was like, no, I don't know how to do it. I'm not interested. I think it's a scam. What's happening? So the essence was like, you have to look for a source of knowledge outside always. Do not think that you can first of all, keep up with the market, or you have enough time to get there, because we were too late and we weren't specialized enough. And the fact that you cannot rely on internal knowledge. So kind of two lessons. But yeah, to summarize, I did not get a green Lamborghini out of the crypto bull market. And I don't know who and how, but I feel that somebody, this is Dave Courtney's words, owe me some Bitcoin. So if there is anybody, this is the time to come clean, guys. I feel like somebody anyways.
Yeah, crypto will forever remain a mystery in my books. I'm just too dumb to understand it, the blockchain concept yet, but hopefully in the future. So talking about NetGuru, let's backtrack that. You built a 150-person operational hub across 3 different countries in 3 months at Publicis. For a lot of people listening to this, that just sounds, if not improbable, very impossible. Could you walk me through your first week? What did you do on day 1 that made the rest of the blocks possible?
I panicked, very much so. There was a panic. I realized yet again, I jumped into this ADHD style, totally yes person. Yes, I'm going to do that. I want to take on this challenge. And it's like this harsh realization, great, but how? And I remember the first question I've asked my boss at that time, because it was my second day of work, mind you. I haven't been on board. I've picked up my computer. And I was like, Pavel, great guy, fantastic energy, love him to bits. I said, Pavel, so how many people have you hired so far? It's 150. He said, you. And my first feeling, there was this sinking feeling. I was shit. Okay, so I'm screwed. 150 people. But then after this panic, I realized, okay, deep breath. Panic doesn't help here, It's not useful. Perspective is useful. So I kind of, I've 2 things, kind of 2 pillars of my journey here was perspective and collaboration, so to speak. So the perspective was I took 3 steps. I do that very often, especially if I'm having this sort of sinking feeling, and I realize in self-realization that I'm holding on to detail that might be completely minute and it's irrelevant and I'm wasting my time. Yeah, there is a bigger fish to fry, but I need this moment of panic in order to kind of reset. Okay, 3 steps back. So what is this 150 people? What does it mean? Do I have to have 150 people, bums on seats, so to speak, literally high 150 people? Or do I have to have a system, like also obviously some people, but a system that can handle or can be handled by 150 people? Or do I have to, for example, be able to handle a workload that was initially designed for 150 people? Because if it's the latter, then maybe I just need to automate something, make it more efficient, and then it's going to be just 75. So establishing the definitions as to what the actual goal is, what are the priorities, establishing what systems we need. So that was establishing the definition and the priorities. So that's what came out of the panic. In technical world, we would call it, what's our MVP? Yeah? What's the minimal viable product? I have 3 months. But the 3 months, am I delivering at the end of month 3, or do I have to deliver something before? And I received the information that actually after month 1, I have to have some results, people and system mapped out already. So that changed priorities. And that was, you define those things. And then collaboration. And I know that first week is probably not exactly the same as all the rest, but in this particular process, it kind of felt like every week was the first week because we're discovering new stuff and new systems were coming in. But what I mean by collaboration, I've established how we're going to communicate, who is accountable for what people do I actually have? That was kind of like the first thing I said, do I have any resources? And if so, what are the resources? So we establish who's responsible for what, who is accountable, who's checking, and just the shortest line of acceptance was established. I couldn't have every single decision flowing through me. I worked on trust, a full battery. I said, as long as we understand what the end goal is, the trust is in you, you've got the ownership and the accountability, and delegation. And I know this is nothing exciting. We're not reinventing the wheel here, say it.
Sure.
Yeah. But delegation also means, and I'm going to emphasize it, especially for my husband, if he's ever going to listen to that, delegation doesn't mean dumping your shit on me. Okay? That means
I'm going to make a note of it.
you're making up. Yeah. This is not, you're not just dumping your project. We need to have a clear guidance as to what needs to be done. And I need to check with you and listen to you whether or not you can do it, you can deliver it, do you have all the tools, etc., etc. Do you understand the end goal? So yeah, kind of MVP, collaboration, very wide term, but panic. A lot of panic.
Well, you did a great job. I think like any major thing you do in your life that is worth looking back to, there is some certain level of panic that sets in. That just is a precursor for something that is great, that is about to come. I think there's a movie I was watching with my kids. We bought a zoo, and the guy says, whenever you're scared, 20 seconds of insane courage. That's all you need, 20 seconds. And 20 seconds of insane courage. If you do it, something great will come of it. And that's the line that got stuck with me, is that's that moment where you kind of feel like that shit, I can't do that. 20 seconds of insane courage. And you will have a great story to tell if you follow through on that panic, so to speak, like you're describing for the most part. I want to flip the coin a little bit. You talked about hiring people. Let's talk about building side of things. So you build structured onboarding, offboarding. Obviously, for a lot of people, you need that. Most startups, and I don't think this is a surprise by any stretch, have very terrible onboarding. What's that one thing you implemented that had the biggest impact on retaining people, the retention side of things? Because I think that's one thing that every company could use now.
It really depends which company. It really depends which company. Every company is a little bit different. But I tell
company that Patricia would run.
Okay. So the companies that I have collaborated with over the last decade, they had one thing in common. And I think that the ones that I'm going to work with for the next decade will have the same characteristic. They grow fast. They grow very, very fast. So what it means, that it translates to, is fast onboarding, fast and effective. And it doesn't go hand in hand. Simple as, the best onboarding is kind of gradual, slow, or adjusted to individual speed.
Nice.
Yeah, that's ideal. That's ideal. But I don't work with ideal companies. I don't know about you, but generally speaking,
the quote
is I don't work with ideal systems. Yeah. So what I do, I flip the coin, using the term that you've just used. So I see 3 levels of onboarding. You onboard onto a company culture, my favorite. You onboard onto your role and department that you are in. And then there's the last, more granular level, which is you're onboarding onto a project. Depending what this project might be. And it could be several. If you're a manager, it's normally several. It's like, yeah,
Sure.
This, you have to do this, these are KPIs, whatever. So normally what you do, you come into the company and they give you those big booklets, or they give you some sorts of tutorials. These are our HR systems. I'm sorry, I'm making some weird voice, but it's like, this is my training videos. And this is, this is the CEO's, let's say, message about this. And this is just ton of information. I don't know how about you say, but within the first 7 days, I don't need to take vacations as of yet. No, okay? I'm not thinking as to what my health benefits are, whether or not there's a private medical care. I'm not particularly interested in a company's history yet. It's cool. It's formulates a part of the organizational culture, so bigger picture. So I flip the coin by focusing on your role. So what I want you to do is, by day 7, you need to be able to define or answer what are you actually accountable for? So what's my role here? What was I supposed to do here? And if I do this, who is going to assess that this is a good job or a bad job? And what does a good and bad job look like? So what are the success criteria of my job? So essentially, KPIs, one would say. And last but not least, who says yes or no? So what is my reporting line? Who approves shit that I do?
Yeah.
And this is very important to me. So this is normally the last thing you do, but it gives you the most certainty that, first of all, you can do the job and you know precisely who to speak to. Everything else will come as a part of your natural daily duties. So I do it in reverse, but it's only because of the fast growth being at the heart of most companies that I have worked for or with for a decade plus. Actually, 2 decades, come to think of it. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's a lot here. It's interesting. We talk about hiring, we talk about offboarding, we talk about processes, we talk about joining different companies. I kind of feel like that it would be not a conversation if you didn't touch on AI. And I've seen a lot of layoffs because of AI. I've seen a lot of folks automating a lot of things, which puts people in a pretty crappy spot where they're scared. At what team size, from your experience or revenue level, does AI automation actually become worth it? A lot of founders, from my experience, try to automate too early and waste money. Is there a particular guideline or a revenue range where you go, yeah, this is worth implementing here and not here?
As a rule of thumb, it's around 20-30% of workload. If that 20 or 30% of workload falls into the manual workload, so like any data entry, any tagging of the data, any moving of a data from one source onto another, if you are hitting this mark, this is a good indicator for you to look into automation or AI automation. And I would like to differentiate between the two, because people go AI, and it's like this, magical term that will resolve everything. But truth is, you've got the automation that has been with us for years. We had Zapier for the last decade plus. Everybody was using it with Salesforce and HubSpot. It was all Zapier
Workflows.
Yeah, very much so. And suddenly AI came in, made it better. So sure. So if that 20-30% of your work that falls into the manual category, this is the moment you should look at. So I would look more on the percentage rather than the revenue, because your company's, let's say, business model might differentiate greatly. And therefore there might not be a particular place to put AI in. But also, if you're looking at a cost, if we're thinking about money, if the actual errors, human errors, exceed the price of the using of AI, because we keep forgetting this is a free thing to be used. People think it's very free, but there are a variety of tools that requires some financial input. So you're looking at the, whether or not it actually balances itself out. But there's a cautionary tale here, and I keep saying it to everybody, and I've learned it the hard way, and I've learned it under wings of fantastic specialists from Publicis, actually. They've also worked a lecturer from Wood University, Martin. And Martin told me a very important thing, and that kind of stayed with me and will stay forever. The AI model, or whatever the output of the AI implementation is as good as the data that you put into it. Yeah. So let's remember. I know it's clear. I know it's logical, but people forget, if you don't have a stable workflow, the only thing that the AI will do will just add to chaos. It'll emphasize it. It will be great. Nobody will know what's happening. But it be delivered to you in a very nice format. But just remember. So rule of thumb.
Fair enough. It's that garbage in, garbage out, right? Your data is only as good, like how much you feed it or how well it is that you're going to feed it. Only then, data and things structure starts to make a little bit more sense. Moving away from AI a little bit, I want to talk about, it was pretty interesting while doing some research, Apple research on you. You managed a 5 million pounds budget for TV and social media advertising on Money Boomerang. Most B2B SaaS founders, and I attest to that, are terrified of big ad budgets. When is paid advertising actually worth it, and when is it just burning cash?
Firstly, I am not surprised that they are terrified. I feel that most of the time, especially something like TV advertising, because I did a lot of TV advertising. That was fun. That's just
So that's what I was seeing on TV. Got it. That's you guys.
Yeah, that's us. And I did it for other people. And for a variety of companies. I've managed a variety of budgets. We're talking 5 million, talking 20 million. And there are just very simple rules, actually. Very simple rules. If you think about your business model and you can articulate your ideal customer profile and therefore a buyer persona in one sentence, you're on a good way to create a campaign that will provide the value. This is as simple as. Yeah. But if you're just compensating for the fact that you don't know where you fit, just kind of, I've seen that happening a lot, fairly egocentric CEO going, I'm just going to throw the money into situation. For me, music to my ears, especially, I was on commission there. So I was like, come on, bring it on. I was like, well, whatever. So, but if you're unable to tell me why you're doing it and who you're doing it, or what are you selling and whom to, don't even start. Don't even go, because as we know, hoping that you're going to interest somebody in your service and product is not a strategy. Yeah, hope is not a strategy. Let's remember that. But it's simple rules.
Talking about ads, do you have a favorite ad?
Every year, Christmas ads from Marks and Spencer's, Aldi, little from UK market. That's it. If you've seen them, you know what I'm talking about, right? Waitrose does it. I cry every year. I look for them. And yeah.
Have you seen the ad from dollarshave.com?
Oh, I love that one. It was fantastic. It was a great example how to do the ad with what was it, $500 or something?
Yeah, it was stupid budget. But the guy, I think he sold the company to Gillette, ironically, for like $1 billion. And the ad, I think it is one of the best ads that I've ever come across. It's just, once you get to know the backstory, the production value, who did it, who was in it, who was the CEO who shot it. It's just amazing.
Brilliant.
That's like goes to show you the power.
It really does, but it's also one of a kind. It's one of those adverts that you look at, this holy grail of advertising. Look, can we do that? Probably not. Okay, guys, it's like Facebook and tech world. Just just give up. You're not going to do that. But it was brilliant. It was like shot on a iPhone or something like that with $500 budget. Brilliant. Absolutely great.
Yeah. I think media is changing quite a lot. I think most of the videos nowadays, the ones that get a lot of views and interaction, are ones that are just shot on a camera. They get millions of views that are just on iPhone. Somebody's recording raw in the moment of what's happening, as opposed to the structured cameras and lighting and so on and so forth. People underestimate the power of just rawness, and just people need authenticity, and that just was very authentic. And that was true 20 years ago. It's going to ring true 20 years from now. People will crave, as we start to get into AI and these different mediums get invented. People want some of that authenticity, which seems to be lacking in the world of social media nowadays. I think advertising, of course, is going to play a massive role in that. So that's my rant on that front.
Well, we'll see. I think it's a very interesting space to be observing. I was reading the recent study that actually showed that majority of young people, so it was between Gen Alpha and Gen Z, this kind of a
what is Gen Alpha?
So we're talking like people born, was it after 2010? I think 2010.
Oh my God, I don't even want to fall.
So your children, my children, Gen Alpha.
Yeah,
I might be wrong here. Well, yeah, after 2010. Yeah, so the oldest are 15.
And you Gen Z. Okay, fair enough.
Oh, it's like every generation brings something else. We're looking at Gen Z, like
Sure.
Papa is going to break, So we don't know, but
TikTok 2.0.
yeah, there you go. Millennial here, but I remember that the study showed that they are actually purchasing the products based on Insta or TikTok or Snapchat stories shared by their friends. So it's like, oh, if Kate has got this, it must be good. So I'm going to buy the same. So it's, it's to that level, of not even
Yeah.
influencer. It's just influencer within the closest kind of
Yeah.
social network that they have.
Yeah. I'm antiquated. I don't have social media. The only social media I have is a Reddit, and even then it's incognito in the sense that I'm just a prowler, so to speak. I don't interact much. It's alien to me how people can do all of this. It's a different world out there, I guess.
My gosh, it's a different world.
Spoken like a true 30-year-old.
I know, I love it. I love. Let's go down that. Let's not. The next one we're gonna be, comparing backaches. So let's
Not yet.
let's work.
Talking about pivots, and segues. You've been through multiple company pivots: Money Boomerang, NetGuru, Crypto Focus. We talked about it. Shift and Pause, company that you're a co-founder. What's the hardest part of leading a team through a pivot, and how do you keep people from quitting mid-transition, which I believe is a pretty critical component?
That's a very good question. I wish I had a universal answer, but any pivot equals change. And this is change management. This is where we go into change management. And I truly consider myself, first of all, very interested in a topic, very well read in a topic, and also a person with a lot of experience in both receiving or being a part of the change management, as well as implementing a variety of changes. And yet I haven't seen one shift that has been implemented correctly or by the book with 100% or 95% success rate from A to Z. Never have I ever. This is the holy grail. This is your $1 million, $1, shaving company ad. It's just hasn't happened in my lifetime. And the truth is, it is simply down to the fact that people lose their identity throughout the change. And unless the change benefits you, as an employee, as a manager, as an employer, it is not welcome. So there's always going to be resistance. You can try all the tricks in it, explain why, get the champions, rally up the people, explain the bigger concept, get those people to share their ideas, run those projects internally. But at the end of the day, if the change doesn't benefit you, you will resist it. And this is where you have to respect the exits. You really have to respect the exits. Kind of forced optimism. We're going to get through it as a team. That kills credibility. And we talked about trust, and we talked about transparency. We touched upon it. You cannot go with everything is going to be fine narrative. It's not going to be fine. The change is usually implemented because, and let's be honest here, positively affects, or it's designed to positively affect, the profit and loss balance sheet or a cash flow. There is a old Polish saying that kind of goes, if you don't know what it is about, it's about the money. And this is as simple as we do the changes because they're supposed to positively impact the bottom line, the cash flow. So it's not going to be
100%.
for everybody. If it's positive for you, it's probably not going to be positive for me. Somebody suffer. You limit certain things. This is where that you're handling the objection as you go along. But the truth is, You need to forecast as to how many people you're going to lose, and you have to be prepared for it. And you have to, and this is from my perspective, not you have to. I felt that the best way to implement pivot is focus on the people who want the change. There is no point of trying to turn somebody around truly, unless they're essential to the company's or your project well-being, which is never the case. Nobody is indispensable. Nobody is irreplaceable. And I respect people's personal choices. You don't want people to be unhappy in a workplace. As simple as, So yeah, the hardest part is the loss of identity and the feeling that you've been left behind. Yeah. But truthful conversation, managing your losses as a manager, as a business owner, that's the most logical way. But, obviously you've got the torment of emotions there, but hey ho, that goes with every change.
Yeah, 100%. You're
Sad truth. It is a sad truth.
bang on the money here. I want to ask you one last question before we head into our rapid fire round. If you could go back to 2009 when you were an operations manager at Money Boomerang and tell yourself one thing about scaling companies, what would it be?
Chill. Just chill. Just chill. Stop trying to be in this.
Such a good advice.
Just stop trying so hard. Take a deep breath, have a coffee, go for a walk. Burnout isn't a leadership. And this is simple as, I work as a millennial there with the kind of mindset of a millennial. Quitting is not an option. I work 7 days a week. What a bullshit that was. An achievement.
I'm going to print that out. Yeah. I'm going to get this printed on a t-shirt and send it to you. Burnout is not a leadership badge. This is fantastic.
It's not.
Yeah.
If it
I wish
was the case, I would have a few.
Yeah. And a green Lamborghini, not to forget that.
Phew. That too. Where's my Bitcoin?
Well, I think a lot of people ask that same exact question.
Yeah, I'm not particularly original here, am I?
Yeah, no. This is fascinating stuff, Patricia. Thank you so much. I want to head into a rapid fire round, which is quick questions, quick answers. What's the best advice you've ever received, business or personal?
That's a very good question. I want to say,
Thank
you. I know about a few bad advices, but the truth.
Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah, the truth was like, enjoy your life. You're on your deathbed, and I know it again. Nobody is going to think, oh my gosh, I should have worked more. Or, you know what? I should have eaten less. If you're going to personal, I should have eaten less. The tie gap was precisely something that has defined you as a person. No, enjoy your life. Take every day as a gift. So yeah, enjoy your life, really.
Yeah, and it resonates a lot because it's a baseball term we have back home. It's you only have one at bat, meaning you only have one shot at the plate with a bat, and this is your one shot. So swing for the fences, don't hold back. So what you're seeing, it's like enjoy your life really, really resonates on that front. I don't know why people don't enjoy life. I mean, God.
Because we're conditioned not to. We're conditioned not to, We're brought up in a very structural kind of educational systems, etc.
Sure.
So we have a plan we need to follow. We have certain rules we need to follow. We're afraid of breaking them. And that comes a moment in your life that you realize, maybe this is not as important. Maybe I should look, kind of turn inwards into what I want, what my desires are, and what truly my priorities are. But it comes later in life, truly. But for me, at least, if somebody got to that truth faster, I salute.
Hallelujah.
I salute.
Yeah.
Like I am.
Absolutely.
It took me a few years.
Yeah. It is what it is. Advice you ignored or wish you had listened to.
Value yourself. Simple as. And what I'm saying is, do not wait for recognition from others. And I've noticed it's a very, very typical for women as well. I'm going to go all kind of gender related here. Imposter syndrome. Show me a woman in a particular senior management or C-level that hasn't had that episode. Am I worth it? L'Oreal put it. Yes, you are. You're worth it. Listen to L'Oreal, I suppose. But yeah, value yourself before, not waiting for recognition or validation from others. Simple.
Yeah, that's I think is the most toxic trait, is that when you attach your identity and self-worth to somebody else telling you whether or not you're good. That's a pretty shitty dark down road that you don't want to head down into.
And you know what it translates to? It's just kind of it's like a pendulum situation whereby you with yourself then. So, no, I'm not good enough, or, I'm not skillful enough. I'm not going to apply for this job. I'm not going to say this. And it's just never ending story. So yeah, value yourself, definitely.
Funnily enough, the folks that have those jobs, the ones that you're applying for, they themselves are not as half as good as you are. You know what I mean? They're just making it up as they go along.
Amazing. But this is a skill in itself. It's a skill in itself. You just have to kind of go, yeah, shit, I'm worth it. I can totally do it. It's all about self-confidence, what's the saying of my favorite and the Hollywood favorite? Fake it until you make it. In a way, probably I wouldn't recommend. Let's go back to topic, probably not forward, but some definitely.
Yeah, 100%. What would you tell your younger self, say 7 to 10 years ago?
Was it? How far? I don't remember. I had 2 children since. I honestly don't remember this. It's all a bit. Say to sleep.
Have children faster, get awesome cycles. Got it.
Exactly. It's better for your back to have children faster if you ever plan them. Yeah, do probably seriously leave your money with Bitcoin and don't spend it on holidays. That's what I would tell myself.
Definitely spend it on holidays. Forget Bitcoin is what I would say. Memories.
Sure. Okay. Well, I could be
make it while you can.
I could be making memories right now with that money.
True, with the green Lamborghini. My lord.
Probably not my, it's not like I would say no to it. Different color. So.
Is there an ongoing challenge in your current work that keeps you up at night?
No, there isn't. For the first time in my life, no, because I don't think that anything that's happening in my current work or any future work is important enough in my life as a human being, as a mother, as a professional, as a person, to keep me up at night. And also,
I salute you.
And also, have I mentioned, I'm permanently tired, so there isn't a goddamn thing that will keep me up at night.
That's fair enough. You've earned my respect. Your favorite restaurant, meal, or spot in Poland?
Any coffee place. Don't eat, I'm a great cook. So I like to cook for myself. I'm all pointed. I don't like fancy restaurants because they just go on and on about the food that they make. I can see the food. I've ordered the food. You don't have to explain it to me. Just serve the goddamn thing. I'm hungry. So coffee, yes. Food, I can skip that.
I've never had coffee in my life.
I'm not sure what to say to that. It's quite shocking.
I've never had coffee. I've never had tea in my life either.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How do you survive? How do you survive?
I think if I had coffee, I would poke a hole through my computer. I have a lot of energy, and I would be an Energizer bunny from hell if I drank coffee. I would just be jittery. So
I'll take it as a challenge. We're on, man.
There you go. Is there a tool that you cannot live without or you swear by?
Currently, ChatGPT. Really.
ChatGPT, I think that's a great tool.
Simple as.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah. This has been fascinating. I really enjoyed talking to you. Learn a lot. There's like a whole book of notes that I've made here, which it's always wonderful to look back and see how much you can learn from people. Where can listeners find you?
Actually, they can't. But no, LinkedIn is
Coffee place.
coffee place, yeah. And it's, any coffee shop, you'll find me. I want to say my basement, but that sounds like a hostage situation. So yeah, LinkedIn is probably the best way to contact me. Full stop. If
All right,
if
let's keep it PG-12 here. Okay, perfect.
that's the best. If anybody feels that I can provide any value or share some insight, or appeal on anything, I'm pretty easy to reach.
Absolutely. No, this has been fascinating. Is there a project, upcoming launch, talk, event that you're excited about?
I want to say Christmas. Is that really bad?
Yes, that is the event, though. I mean, this is the event.
I really wanted to get it over with, so I'm looking at it from that perspective.
Do you have your Christmas tree set up?
I've got a Christmas tree in the garage. I need to set it up tonight. But I'm just wanting to, I know I'm an owner of a very big dog, and for him, it's
What
going to
kind
be.
of dog do you have?
I've got a Scottish Deerhound, so it's a 40-kilo puppy.
Oh my
So
Lord.
I'm looking forward to setting up that tree and seeing it the next day flat on the floor, and a dog, very pitiful look on his face, going that, the tree fainted, I'm expecting a mean situation. I'll let you.
Yeah. I'll give you a tip for that. So we had the same problem with our dog. So instead of buying Yodva, we bought Schwirk, which is a more pinchy. And I know it's tough to put the bump key on it or whatever, but dog doesn't even go close to that. So there's a tip for that.
Hold you to it. I have no idea what I've got. It's big, it's wrapped, it's 3 meters tall.
My Lord.
My husband always goes overboard. He buys the biggest tree that takes half of the living room.
That's good.
I have no idea.
That's how you do it.
But
that's how you do it. Christmas for.
I'm glad to, as long as I can get through it somewhat unscathed and alive. Let's get it over with.
Success.
Let's get it over with.
Absolutely. Patricia, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciated our talk. Got a lot of value out of this. So thank you so much. And I say this to the listeners, the same exact thing, is that if they got value out of this, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And I'll see you next week. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sid. Much appreciated. Cheers.
All right, take it.